Betrayal doesn't knock, it storms into the room. Imagine Rasheeda and Jasmine, two women connected by one man, Kirk Frost, standing face to face in a tense room. As we shake the foundation of everything you believe to be true, Jasmine makes the shocking revelation: Kirk Frost is acting as though he is Rasheeda's father, and I have a baby. The words struck like a thunderclap. Rasheeda's mind scrambled to make connections. As she first looked at Jasmine, Rasheeda's sense of loyalty and trust had been directly hit by Kirk Frost's hidden relationship with Jasmine and the unexpected claim of a child. She wanted answers, anything to make sense of the chaos that had suddenly exploded into her life. The tension escalated as Jasmine refused to back down, insisting that her side of the story be heard. Not one to back down, Jasmine shot back, meeting Rasheeda's fiery gaze without flinching. She wasn't there to take the blame. She had her own story to tell, and she felt Rasheeda needed to hear it. Jasmine pointed out that Kirk Frost made his own decisions, and he was the one who took action, which is how they ended up in this situation. She didn't compel him to do anything. The environment grew tenser with every statement, fueling the emotional fire. Jasmine responded, "If you're mad, be mad at him. He came to me and made promises." "You think you're innocent," Rasheeda shot back. "But you knew what you were getting into, and you decided to participate." Rasheeda wasn't about to let Jasmine change what had happened. Both women, victims of Kirk Frost, maintained their positions. Jasmine maintained that Kirk had pursued her and made her feel like more than just a supporting character, while Rasheeda's rage was stoked by Kirk Frost's repeated public humiliation of her before it was overtaken by betrayal and Jasmine's defiance. Rasheeda lost her temper and gave Jasmine a strong smack. The sound reverberated throughout the room. It wasn't just Jasmine who staggered back, stunned, but she refused to back down. As Rasheeda's tears of rage began to fall, it was her wrath boiling over, the betrayal striking too deeply. "That's what that says?" she said. "And now you're going back on your word after I signed the release form for Cannon? I'll take you back to court. Don't play with me. You didn't ask me for cash after extra money towards the rent. I just did it out of the kindness of my heart because I knew you were behind, trying to help you. That wasn't no extra money. That's what you should have been giving me anyway, since we agreed to whatever the number is." Rasheeda thought things couldn't get worse when Kirk entered the turmoil and the aftermath of the altercation, but she was mistaken if she believed he could make things better. Like the spotlight, Rasheeda's rage turned toward him. "Explain this, Kirk," she cried, gesturing to Jasmine. "How did we end up here?" Once more, Kirk gum-turned and clenched his fist. Kirk's attempts to defend himself failed. His reasons were forced and hollow. He muttered something about being in a difficult situation or feeling misunderstood, but none of it made Rasheeda feel any less angry or sad. This wasn't simply another error, it was a betrayal that caused her to doubt everything about their relationship. When she looked at Kirk, she saw not just a man who made mistakes, but also a partner who had consistently disrespected their marriage. Her heartbreak wasn't just personal. It affected their entire family, including their children, who were now caught in the fallout of Kirk's decisions. Flashback struck her like a bad movie reel. This wasn't the first time Kirk had dragged their marriage into disarray. Longtime Love and Hip Hop Atlanta fans would recall the entire DNA test drama when Kirk fathered a child with another woman, forcing Rasheeda to confront his adultery in front of millions. This betrayal was just the most recent in a long line of catastrophes that Kirk had attempted to salvage. He pleaded for forgiveness, but Rasheeda wasn't having it. She replied, "This isn't about forgiveness anymore, it's about respect, which you obviously don't have for me or this family." Still, on the text messages, is that what we got going on? Because the fact that I'm even sitting here, even listening to this, is beneath me. And I'm sick and tired of this. Straight up, what is up? After their big blow-up, everything Kirk had done over the years hit Rasheeda like a ton of bricks. It wasn't just one thing. Kirk had a long history of betrayal that had gradually eroded her trust. One particular instance that stood out was the entire paternity drama from Season 3 of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. One of the main plot lines of the show was the public disaster that resulted from Kirk having a child with someone else while they were married. Rasheeda attempted to heal the sorrow by focusing on their family and the things they had created together, but that forgiveness came with consequences. Once the DNA test verified the rumors, she had to face the truth of his infidelity in front of cameras and millions of viewers. She had been balancing being a mother, wife, and businesswoman while dealing with all the public drama, But now, standing in the ruins of yet another betrayal, she couldn't help but wonder if it was time to end the relationship permanently. The decision weighed heavily on her. Was it worth continuing a relationship that cost her so much pain, or was it time to move on and prioritize her own happiness? After everything calmed down, Kirk found himself dealing with more than just a furious wife. He gradually began to see that he might have gone too far this time. Rasheeda's response was more than just rage, it was heartbreak. And it was obvious that she was done. He could hear it in her voice and see it in her eyes. As word got out, she wasn't merely discussing leaving, she was actually considering it. The possibility of Rasheeda leaving Kirk became a hot topic, and supporters gathered around her to call out Kirk for his actions. Her posts were inundated with comments telling her to leave, reminding her of her value, and telling her that she deserved better. Meanwhile, while Kirk faced backlash for his repeated mistakes and rumors of a divorce were becoming more prevalent, Rasheeda, renowned for her grace and strength, was now receiving encouragement from friends and fans. In the meantime, Kirk found himself feeling quite alone as the realization that he would lose not just his wife, but everything they had created together began to hit him hard. Audience and friends encouraged Rasheeda to put herself first, and the topic changed from if they would make it to whether Rasheeda was finally ready to move on. Despite his sins, Rasheeda had been his rock, and now he had to face the real prospect that she might decide to leave, leaving him to handle the fallout alone. While Rasheeda thought about what to do next, one thing was certain: this was no longer just about Kirk. It was also about her future, her family, and her value as a person. She had repeatedly battled for their marriage, but now she had to decide if it was still worth it. The fight, that is. Let me talk to you, Jasmine. Whatever. So, what's the deal? Honestly, let me say this. Me and you haven't really had any type of communication like this ever before. I feel like maybe me and you need to open up a communication line instead of him and me. Maybe it will be better that way. You just told me my husband tried to you, and then you're telling me you want to open up a communication line with me? Are you kidding? For years, Rasheeda had been working to mend her relationship with Kirk. But after the most recent betrayal, there was nothing left to save. Their final conversation was quiet and solemn, weighing heavily on all the hurt they had endured. When Rasheeda looked Kirk in the eye one last time, she spoke clearly. Each word struck hard. I deserve better. She spoke calmly and confidently without anger, realizing she had finally reached her breaking point. It wasn't about regret or retaliation, it was just the truth. Kirk, feeling broken and desperate, begged her to forgive him. But his words were empty in response to Rasheeda's suffering. He wanted her to stay and give him another chance, but the trust had been lost and no apology could make up for it. Nothing could change Rasheeda's decision, which she had already made long before this talk. Realizing her value and that there was no going back, she took a deep breath. This time, Rasheeda turned and left without looking back, because she was doing it for herself, not for Kirk, or their family, or anybody else. The chapter of her marriage was closed. Fans are speculating about what this unstoppable lady will do next, as she closes her chapter and prepares to go on a new period of self-discovery, strength, and independence. Someone made a statement: Rasheeda is such a strong woman, but even strong women have their breaking point. Kirk's been disrespecting her for years. It's about time she put herself first. She deserves so much better. Another wrote, I'm proud of Rasheeda for finally walking away. Staying in a toxic relationship for the sake of family is so draining. She's setting an example for so many people watching. A third fan added, Kirk really thought he could keep playing Rasheeda and that she'd never leave. This should be a wake-up call for him, but honestly, I hope she doesn't look back. It's time for her to shine on her own. Fans are eagerly watching to see if Rasheeda will focus on her career, her family, or perhaps even begin an exciting new chapter now that her marriage is over. One thing is crystal clear: she has always been a powerhouse, and now she's more determined than ever to keep moving forward. Speculation is already swirling about what's next for Rasheeda, and the possibilities are endless. Her undeniable strength will surely guide her, whether she uses this moment to skyrocket her career or chooses to focus on her children, bringing newfound peace and stability to her family. Rasheeda is an inspiration, and her bold decision to prioritize herself and walk away from what wasn't working sends a powerful message to anyone stuck in a toxic relationship. Now, I want to hear from you. What do you think about Rasheeda's choice? Was it the right move to finally confront Kirk? This isn't just about her, it's about empowering others to recognize their worth and stand up for what they truly deserve. It's about showing that letting go for your happiness and well-being is not only okay, it's necessary. Drop your thoughts in the comments below.